It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielson and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wednesday episode of The Oil Stream with Nielson and Gazzola, brought to you by our friends at Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. They've got that delicious chicken sandwich. You can get it on DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, Uber Eats. They'll get you taken care of there. Absolutely delicious. 7 locations in Edmonton, 12 in the surrounding area total. And it's your playoff chicken sandwich, buddy. It's just that simple. Tommy, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. And speaking of that delicious playoff chicken sandwich, I'm wearing a Urban Farmer picnic table shirt to celebrate the chicken sandwich, which is delicious.
You look like you're going to shoot some Popeyes commercials after the episode today.
Maybe I should float that to Furby and be like, hey, we do the oil stream. I love chicken sandwiches. Let's figure something out.
I've got this red shirt.
Got
it's
this
perfect.
Shirt. I call it the Urban Farmer, even though I'm scared of farms and I've only been to one. I had no idea what I was doing there. I was there for an agriculture story. Don't ask me what my news director
You've only
was
been
thinking.
to one farm in your entire life?
That is correct.
Holy smokes, buddy. Unbelievable. You've lived in Alberta like essentially your whole life, and you've only been to one farm.
Yeah.
You're a city slicker. That's what you are, Tommy.
You know, I can't deny that. You know what's funny? Really quickly, we had a reporter in Lloyd named Aaron Streck. He's at Global Toronto or something like that now. And Streck was like, I'm just a big city guy. He's a little dude. He's like 5'1". And I'm like, where are you from that you're a big city guy? He goes, Yorkton. I was like, how do you even tell people that with a straight face? Heart of gold, that guy. But when he said he was from Yorkton and a big city guy, I had a hard time believing. And after I stopped laughing, I had to start questioning him.
And now he's in the 6.
He's in the 6. Big dog,
living
big city, man.
Big city dream.
That's
big
right.
City dream. That is excellent. All right, lots to get to. We'll get to the Ken Morrison Remax Excellence question of the day in a little bit. Let's start with the game last night. Obviously, at the post-game show, Don Wiener White post-game show on TSN 1260. And this is the different thing with this team. I think this year, for the most part, Tommy, they give up that goal less than a minute in, and I think in a lot of past years, you've been like, oh boy, here we go again. But I think we're all kind of just expecting them to not get rattled by that anymore, and they once again showed they didn't last night. Yeah,
sign of maturity. They've rounded the corner, doing what good teams do, and that's when you face a lower opponent, you don't get rattled if they get up one on you, and you just stick to your game plan and end up walking away with 2 points at the end of the night calmly. And Dusty, that was a sloppy start to the game. Let's not kid ourselves. I think they were too cute, maybe a little overconfident. Every reason to be, considering what Vancouver's throwing at them right now. That's a tough go for the Canucks, but the Oilers. There's like a quiet calm right now in oil country, and there's satisfaction in these wins. There's peak curiosities in the lineup and who's in the lineup right now, and I know we're going to get to that. But right now, it feels like the calm before the storm, quiet satisfaction, and I think by next week, it's going to be ramped up about 193%, though.
Buddy, everything's kind of building to this 2-game set against the Habs. And then you see what happens there because Montreal's played the Oilers very well. At that point, depending on what happens in Winnipeg, you could be looking at a first-round preview. I think we may have to end up treating it that way with the Jets struggling as much as they are. So you're right. Enjoy these next 2 games against the Canucks. Might win them both, might not. Who knows? We'll see how it plays out. Probably will. You're right. The Canucks are in a tough spot right now. McDavid and Draisaitl are just pushing McDavid up to 100 here, and it's going to happen. And I'll give you credit actually before we go anywhere else on 2 guys in a goalie on Monday. You stepped in there, stepped into the phone booth, came out as huge wiener Gazzola, and joined us on the 2 guys in a goalie podcast in place for Hernan on Monday. And you said you thought he'd hit 100 by the end of the game against the Canucks on Saturday, buddy. And what's he need? 7 points in 2 games. It's not even crazy to think he can do that.
I know. And I kind of was aggressive, and I just wanted to stir it up a little bit with you guys too. It's always fun hopping on 2 guys in a goalie. So I was like, I can't go too passive and be like, hey, second game Monday against the Habs next week. Maybe he does it then. No, Saturday night in this 4-game set, they're ripe for the picking in Vancouver, and he's going to go big dog and get them points. And I'll stand by it. And now it's kind of looking more and more realistic. So, hey, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. And don't get me wrong, I'm no genius.
Don't worry, I don't think that. I don't think
Good,
you are.
thank God. I didn't think
2
you
points.
did either.
2 points on Thursday, 5 on Saturday night in stunning fashion to hit the 100-point mark. That's some Gretzky shit right there. That's what that is, Tommy.
Man, you're right. The best guys save the best for Saturday nights, regardless of what network it's on. That's what they do.
It's just how it works, no doubt about it. All right, we've got a bunch of other things to get to. I did put out the call for some questions, so we've got some tweets from some followers that we'll get into as well. If you're watching on the live stream right now, first of all, subscribe to the podcast so you do not miss an episode during the upcoming deep playoff run that we are projecting here. So just search the Oil Stream on all of your podcasting platforms and subscribe today. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find them, you'll find us there with the Oil Stream. But let's get to your Ken Morrison Remax question of the day, brought to you by Realtor Ken Morrison. Visit his website, www.kenrmorrison.com, or you can give him a call at 780-993-4815. Buying or selling, Ken's your guy. Tommy, where are we going for this question of the day? God, I host so many things. I'm always asking the questions. You have no idea how excited I get when somebody else asks me a question. Let's go.
Well, as your colleague, co-host, and friend, I enjoy asking you questions too and enjoy your insight very much. So the Ken Morrison question of the day for today's Oil Stream is this, and it's looking down the road a little bit, but I think it's warranted. What does the goalie picture look like a year from now, 2 years from now? Did Mike Smith just buy this organization a little bit of time with his performance this season? What do you do with him? What do you do with Mikko Koskinen? How does Alex Stalock play into all of this? You got Konovalov signed now. He's going to come over to North America. You've got Stuart Skinner playing well. Dylan Wells is kind of in the background there. Dusty, how does this goalie picture solve itself? Oh, and Olivier Rodrigue there too. Sly's son.
Once again, you always ask these great questions, Tommy. I think in an ideal situation, you somehow get Koskinen off the books. And you could buy him out. I mean, I don't know if you want to go that far, because if you're comfortable with bringing back Mike Smith and Koskinen next year, that would allow you, because I think a lot of people are projecting them to go out and spend $4, $5, $6 million on a goalie like they were trying to do last year. But if you can bring back Mike Smith, and obviously a bump after the season that he's had this year, but if you can next year solidify Koskinen into that backup role where he does excel. I mean, his numbers have been really good since Smith came back. Work in 45 to 50 games for Mike Smith. I mean, this might be the most realistic option. That what that does is it allows you to spend some money up front. I mean, you got the blue line that's kind of coming around. It might allow you to keep both Barrie and Larson as well. So it's so tough to walk away from Mike Smith with what he has done this year. And you know, how big a difference is it going to be from 39 to 40? As long as he continues to train in the offseason and be ready, I mean, he obviously has the skill set to still have success. In a perfect world, for me, I would like to see them somehow unload Koskinen, and I'd run with Mike Smith at like $3 million and Stalock as his backup. And then you continue to allow those other guys to develop. And then you get to a situation where maybe you let Mike Smith walk at the end of next season and Skinner or Konovalov are ready to come in and be your number one guy. So I do think, I guess I'll answer the question like this. I do think Mike Smith factors into the picture again here for the Edmonton Oilers. And I don't think that's a hot take. Like, I think a lot of people have come around on that idea.
Yeah, a pleasant surprise this season considering how much vitriol there was when he signed the deal with the Oilers. And good on Mike Smith. It's funny, I was golfing with someone and they told me a story about last year between the end of the regular season and the bubble. And they had run into Shane Doan and Shane Doan was like, oh, I saw Smitty in Kelowna during the time off. Don't bet on the Oilers in the bubble. So, and I'm saying this because Mike Smith even has stated, he's like, maybe I wasn't ready myself going into the bubble. That was a weird situation. A lot of guys kind of felt that way, and this year is different. So I just thought that was a funny little story that was passed along. And when my friend told me, I was like, yeah, that seems totally fair because nobody seemed ready in the bubble. And Mike Smith was one of them that said, no, I did not prepare myself properly for that situation.
I still would have gone back to him in the bubble at some point, but they didn't. But maybe the reason they didn't go back to him because when he came back in, they could tell that he wasn't ready to be that guy to take them on a run. But last year in the regular season, he was pretty good. And this year, he's been absolutely sensational at essentially, when you look at other goaltenders around the league and their number, he's on a bargain deal for you right now. So I do think he factors in. Do you think there's any way, and I like Mikko, since Smith came back, has had some really good numbers. He has, but you just don't want to pay any backup $4.5 million. And if Smith plays how he does, then that's what Koskinen is. Do you think there's any way that they can move him without buying him out this offseason?
I kind of do. Like, I just have this hope that they find a way to do that. And that's kind of on Kenny Holland to get creative and locate a vulnerable team that could use anybody in net and would be willing to take on $4.5 million. I'm not sure what that team is, what kind of scenario pops up out of the blue that creates that perfect and ideal situation for Ken Holland to pounce and maybe convince another GM to take Koskinen. I mean, given his numbers and his performance of late, you could argue, you could be like, listen, he's pretty good. Like, look at these stats. And if another GM didn't do his homework, didn't realize the flaws in Koskinen's game, he might bite. And hopefully none of the GMs watch this program.
Guess what? They don't. There's some people who want to be GMs who probably watch the program, but not any legitimate general managers. So that is your Ken Morrison Remax question of the day. Like we said, you can hop online at kenrmorrison.com, see all of his listings, and contact him if you're looking to move on. I guess the housing market is super hot in Edmonton right now, Tommy. I saw that.
And the price of lumber is through the roof.
You're the second person this week that told me the price of lumber is through the roof. I got no need for lumber. Why do people keep telling me the price of lumber is through the roof? It just doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. So,
I know.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Okay, Tommy, a couple other things we want to get to. Like I said, we'll get to some of those questions. Mitch had a question on the live stream, which I was going to discuss anyway, so let's get to it now. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Dominic Cahoon, and Yamamoto. And I know Yamamoto had some glorious chances last night, couldn't bury. He's got to get one here at some point. I mean, it's been one goal in his last 20 games. But I'm watching that line last night, sitting there on the couch, and I'm going, who the hell are these guys? Like, where did this come from? They're tic-tac-toeing in over the blue line. They're getting the cycle going. Nugent-Hopkins looks like a guy who has those two guys on a string, and he's putting the puck wherever he needs it. I don't know what to make of it. I don't want to get too excited about it, obviously, because it's against a Canucks team that basically is playing 6 American League forwards right now. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, if you can actually get this line going to where it's even some nights, it gets you a goal here or there, then you can leave McDavid and Draisaitl together and have the biggest fist in any fight that you have in the postseason. So is there something to this, Tommy, or is this you get back against Montreal and they look like you'd expect them to look?
Well, I think there is something to it. Sure, absolutely there is. And you're right. And I think most Oiler fans, too, are right to have a little bit of cautiousness when they look at this scenario because it is the Canucks. You pointed out the deficiencies in their roster right now. But the good part of this, too, Dusty, if they continue to make plays like that, get a good feel for the puck, create opportunities, maybe finally Yamamoto buries some garbage and he gets off the schneid and he feels better about himself, that's what will probably matter most is the confidence factor and them knowing that they can do this type of thing or them feeling good out there, that it leads to smart, efficient hockey. And that confidence could go a long way, regardless of a Canucks team that's got a depleted roster or a Montreal Canadiens team that is getting set for the postseason with just monsters on defense. If they're feeling good, it's more likely than not that they're going to be doing good things out on the ice. And you got that confidence. That's a huge part of it. And sometimes when you have the confidence, it doesn't really matter who your opponent is. You know and trust yourself to do the right things and get results. And I think right now that's the key part of this is it seems like they're building confidence, and that's the good thing. What results they get in the next 2 games and what they've done in the last 2 games, I think is moot point. It's more about that feel, that confidence. Yamamoto gets off the schneid. He feels good, has trust in his ability to score, can finally bury one. Maybe it doesn't happen right away, but if he gets one next week against Carey Price or Jake Allen, hey, bonus.
Hey, if Matt Kassian can score 2 goals on Carey Price in one game, Yamamoto can bury one on a Carey Price just returning to the lineup too. So there's that possibility for you. Nugent Hopkins, and I know Rashog has kind of dabbled in this a little bit. I think did the screen freeze on me again? There we go. Man, it keeps freezing in some very poor looking poses from me. It's embarrassing. No, but Rashog's mentioned it a couple of times here. Do you think Nuge being on McLeod's wing on that second line for that one game motivated him to be like, hey, man, love you, kid. And I'm sure he likes what he brings to the table. How can you not? But I'm the second line center on this team. You know what I mean? Like he seems very aggressive the last couple of games.
I didn't even think of that. And that's a good point. I like that. Like a shot across the bow, basically from Dave Tippett saying, hey, this guy's surging here. We want to get him in and have him take a look and a spin at second line center. And Nuge, you're going to play left wing for the new guy playing his 4th NHL game or 3rd NHL game at that point. That's a good point. And if it has kind of sparked Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to get back to being the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins we knew from before this season, he's still in the 30-point range right now. He's having a decent offensive season. His 5-on-5 play, we know, has not been ideal. But that's a good way to look at it. And I'm glad Shogger and you pointed that out. And here's the thing about McLeod too, is like, I like what he's done in these 5 games. And there's a lot of good coming out of him, confidence with the puck, all that. But Dusty, this is a reminder that this is a kid still figuring out the NHL. He's got 2 shots in 5 games. And, you know, the good stuff that he's doing eventually will lead to that lethal scoring opportunity situation and get him into the slot where he finds the puck and he can bang it home or he can wheel and deal into the slot. But he's not quite there yet. And I think that stat kind of is a reminder and an indicator that he's getting there, but he's not there yet.
Yeah, I think you're right. And everything that he's doing outside of getting these shots in net are going to keep him in the lineup to the point where the rest of it will start to come. Because, you know, I haven't noticed him in a bad spot really once, Tommy. You know what I mean? Like he keeps himself on the right side of the puck most of the time, which is pretty impressive for a guy very early into his career. I think the rest of it will come. And you see when he picks up that puck and goes through the neutral, like he's confident with the puck. It's just a matter of time here till something goes his way, I think.
How dare you overlook his giveaway on the JT Miller goal? How dare you?
Oh, that was him, wasn't it?
I'm just being Debbie Downer right
Sorry,
now.
buddy.
He's been very good.
For the most part, he's been pretty good.
Yes, I know.
All right, man. So if Bouchard looks as good as he did last night after 60 days off, I am really looking forward to seeing him again late in the Stanley Cup final, having an opportunity to get on the ice yet again. Tommy, everything that we eventually want to see from Bouchard and everything you expect him to excel at, I think we saw that last night. Like good decision making, willingness to put puck on net, the little hesitation before just flipping one through and scoring his goal. Tippett was mixing them in on the power play. They were in a spot where they could give him 20 minutes last night. Overall, I mean, if you only get one look here to kind of prove that, hey, I can step in and play for you in the playoffs if need be, I think Bouchard passed that test last night.
Yeah, absolutely he did. There's no denying that. He had a very good game considering what he hadn't played since March 1st against the Maple Leafs. And that's a tough go. And he's put in the work. He's been there on the ice late with Jim Playfair, working on little things to his credit. I think he wanted to stay with the big club too. That's my hunch. Instead of going down to Bakersfield and in case somebody went down due to injury or somebody wasn't playing up to snuff, he would get in there. So it doesn't seem like there was a lot of noise for him to go be playing somewhere outside of like the fan base clamoring to get this guy in. But there was no opening for him. But he was good last night. That's a good sign, and it creates more good problems. And I said this on the hit Dustin Nielsen, Lieutenant Eric morning show, the Nielsen show on TSN 1260. Like this theme of the year is good problems for this team, and him coming in like that smooth transition is another good problem. But again, kind of like the Nugent Hopkins, Yamamoto, Cahoon line, you got to take it with a grain of salt considering the opposition. It's way better to have him excel in that game, though, than us talking about him looking rough in a game like that. And let's see what he does. I hope he gets to play a couple more games, Dusty. And then in the postseason, who knows what happens? Anything could happen. Depth is key, especially in the playoffs.
Wouldn't be surprised if Barry sits for a game, Larson sits for a game, and Bouchard just gets to play a couple more along the way, rest a few guys before they get to the postseason. How much do you think the willingness or the want of the organization or the need of the organization to have Bouchard as a regular next year factors into any other decisions they make on the blue line this offseason?
I don't know if there's a particular rush from them to thrust him in there. And again, like I said on the Nielsen show, like all of a sudden you have this really good situation on the right side, 2 veteran guys that bring different elements to the table in Larson and Barry, and it's going so well. Why do you want to get rid of that? Just to say, well, we have to give this guy a chance that hasn't proven it yet. Like he's giving us good indications that he's going to take the right steps to become a very good NHL defenseman. Hasn't done it yet. And I know he's going to need an opportunity somewhere, likely here, to do it. But all of a sudden you have this good scenario with all these good things. And it's like, some people think, it feels like from texts and calls that we get, can't have too much of a good thing. We have to get this young guy in here and we have to thrust him in there. I don't like that mentality. So maybe judging by Ken Holland's conversations that he's had with us over the last couple of years, maybe he feels the same way, where he doesn't want to rush a guy in and force him in. And like, you can't expect Bouchard to come in next season, say you let Barry go, and put up 45, 50 points, even in an 82 game season. Can you? I don't think that's realistic. I don't think that's fair for a guy that's only seen spot duty in the National Hockey League.
Okay, let's get to a couple of questions here that trickled in. They're kind of all over the place. Tommy, I'm going to throw them your way. Nick asks, have you heard anything about the rumor that the Oilers will use Mariah Carey's cover of Last Night a DJ Saved My Life for their playoff goal song?
I haven't heard anything. Is that a joke or is that legit?
I have no idea. I don't know if it's a joke or if he's actually like heard that rumor online somewhere and he actually wants an answer.
I suppose I could like text Johnny Infamous and find out, like, dude, what are you planning for the goal song or the playoff song? Tell me, I need to know. If he's like, I keep it a secret, it's under wraps, I'll be like, get out of here.
Well, then we'll know. It'll be Mariah Carey for sure.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, Marcel asks, now that the vaccination is opening for everyone, do you know if the Oilers can administer them privately or do the players still need to go the same way as everybody else? How do you think that will work?
Pretty sure they have to follow AHS
everybody
protocol
else,
and which it's a double-edged. It kind of sucks, honestly. I mean, you don't want to jump the queue or anything like that and through this crappy situation, but you're looking at other teams around the league and they're fully vaccinated, some of them, and you've got all the Canadian teams and you have the Canucks just get ravaged by it. And so I suppose all the 30-year-olds can get theirs and that's good. Maybe some of them have like asthma or something or chronic case of some illness that they can slide it in and get their vaccine. And you can kind of slowly chip away at it. But as far as I know, they have to follow our health standards here in Alberta.
From AJ Wooderson on Twitter, what does the bottom 2 defenseman situation look like going into the playoffs? It's probably Jones and Bear to start, don't you think, Tommy?
Yes, looks like it now. If Russell was playing a little bit better and wasn't banged up, I would say maybe Chris Russell gets in there. But right now, Caleb Jones looks like he's getting some mojo back, which is great, making some better plays, a little more confidence with the puck. Every now and then you get the grenade that he tosses out there, but so far it hasn't really bit them in the butt. So probably those two, with the caveat being that Chris Russell might slide in for Caleb Jones. I don't think the leash is very long for either one of those guys on the left side in the third pair.
There we go. That's going to do it for another episode of the Oil Stream. If you've been watching the live stream, thank you very much. Subscribe to the podcast. It's all brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. And of course, our question of the day from Ken Morrison. Visit his website if you're looking to buy or sell, kenrmorrison.com. Tommy, be on the air outside of the Gregor Hits Don Wheaton and White pregame Thursday night.
6 p.m., my friend, 6 p.m. And yeah, can't wait. Damn price of lumber going up. What am I supposed to do with this shirt? Do I farm? Do I build a house for Ken Morrison? Do I go do a Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen commercial? So versatile. So versatile.
I'd tell you to lay it out on your table and have a sandwich, but I actually like that shirt. So I don't want to trash it. I love plaid. It's right up my alley, buddy. It's terrific. All right, buddy. Good episode.
Next year.
Yes. Your used red plaid shirt. That would be great. Tommy, have a good day, buddy. We'll catch up on Friday. All right.
Sounds good, Dusty. See you later.